Houston Rockets. Okay. And if you are like me and you get breaking news, whether it's through Instagram, your app, whatever, then you will know Houston just got the worst news, probably not of their that they can expect, but to get bad news before the season even start is egregious. Fred VanVleet tore his ACL, and sources say he is likely out for the 2025-2026 NBA season. And that's a heavy hit, okay? Especially after the summer when they gave him a 2-year, $50 million extension. Because they had just signed KD. They got rid of Jalen. They got rid of Dylan. And they signed KD. So they're like, and Fred was already on free agency. And it's like, matter of fact, Fred, go. We're going to go ahead and keep you and stay. Because Fred has been playing amazing for this Houston Rockets team. I think it was such a great trade that they made 2 seasons ago. His shot has improved, his playmaking ability. He's like just a consistent veteran guard. And he's the player commissioner president. So he obviously has a lot of respect in the league. So he's just very valuable on and off the court. And now it's just going to be off the court. That's another big player going into this season with a huge injury. And it just keeps adding to the list. It's sad. But anyway, I just think he was the type of guy who like tightened up their second chances, and he made smart decisions in the late game moments. And now that's all gone, probably for the whole season, if not most likely the entire season. So now here's where I wanted to focus on, because with this news of them departing, I immediately start thinking, what options, what type of pivots would this team need to make or could make? What were the possibilities that they could see? Because obviously KD came to this team. They finished number 2 in the Western last year, and they lost to the Warriors in round 1. They always lose to the Warriors, but it's like KD obviously came to this team with some hope that they would be championship contenders. And with Fred VanVleet now gone, it's like, has that hope disappeared? Or do you think that they have the good enough coaching, front house, front office, whatever, to pivot this loss and maybe capitalize on what they already have? And I say that because I looked up their cap, and they're in the negative cap space. I didn't go into the details of like each contract, but I was just starting to think like, what the heck could they do? Now, before we get into the cap space, let's talk about what they already have, because Reed Sheppard was a rookie last season, and then he had his his numbers were decent. He wasn't like no scrub, but he was still obviously playing like a rookie, turning the ball over a lot. He's a point guard, but he wasn't generating that many assists, and his 3-point shot needed a lot of work. Now, he has promise though. He still has that shot on the wing, but he didn't really take on a lot of that pressure as much as we would need him to if he were to be the starting point guard for this team heading into this new season, right? And I'm just wondering if they're going to even start him, or are they going to continue to maybe pivot? Because the only other guards they have on their team is Aaron Holiday, point guards. There's Aaron Holiday, Reed Sheppard, and then I think they got someone from the Celtics, Vance. I don't know. I think. And then so that's what they have for like point guards. Of course, you can always use a guard in that position, but I'm really curious to see like where the coaching adjustments, the role clarities, and the buy and all like their cap space, all of that really does matter. And so with them in negative cap space, I don't want to go to cap. Sorry. With Reed Sheppard. Okay. I want to talk about his summer league performance, because it could maybe bode well or give some people more hope about this Houston Rockets team. So Sheppard played 52 regular season games for the Rockets. So he only missed 20 something. That's not bad. Or he didn't play in 20 something or 30 something games. He averaged 4.4 points, 1.5 rebounds, and 1.4 assists per game. His shooting splits weren't great. Like I said, he shot 35% from the field, 33% from the 3, and then 81% from the free throw. And he was only playing around 12 to 13 minutes per game. Now, fast forward to his Summer League 2025 highlights. I saw his name a lot. I saw his name pop up a lot on the articles I was pulling for Summer League. He had standout games. For example, the Clippers. He had 28 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, and 3 blocks over 33 minutes. So he was given more time, and he did something with it. And he made 6 out of 15 threes in that game. Then against the Pistons, he scored 18. I mean, his shooting got really sloppy, and then he was turning the ball over a lot. So again, he's still probably trying to get comfortable with all this minute exposure that he's getting. But overall, in the Summer League, he averaged 23 points per game, shooting 16 of 44 from the field goal in the 2 games that he did play. And his defense stood out in steals and even in blocks. His only downside from Summer League expose, is that the right word? I don't know. His 3-point percentage dropped to 31%, which is lower than expected given his college reputation. So he's getting into the league. He's not hitting the shots as much as he should. He's turning the ball over like a normal rookie would. But if for a point guard, I was really glad to see those 4 assists. But 4 assists doesn't cut it to be a starting point guard in the NBA. Okay. Barely. So obviously, I feel like if we're looking at it from a coaching adjustment and they make pivots starting wise and roles wise, I think maybe the Houston Rockets will continue to lean on their big men in a sense, like go play a bigger game and do something with that to counter work the loss of their point guard and their lack of replacements. And maybe just like it could be a moment where Reed is out there, because defensively, I don't think he's going to be a liability. And that's always like where we want to start off with first. But to how well is he going to play with KD, Amen, Alperen Sengun, like how Steven Adams, how well is Reed going to play with them now that he might take on more minutes with Fred out, right? Let me check the chat. So we have... Okay, I'm glad you said this, Bruce, because I immediately thought about Westbrook. I'm not even kidding. That's why I Googled the cat space. I was like, wait, Russ is still on waivers. Can we reunite Steven Adams, Kevin Durant, and Russell Westbrook? But I did look up the cat space, and I wanted to talk with you all about that because they ain't got no money to do this. They would have to drop people from their roster to make it. They're like negative. Okay, they're over the cap by a lot. They're like 40 million over the cap according to the latest trackers. And that puts them in a spot where they don't really have free cash to bring someone in unless they use exceptions or more contracts around or be shady and slimy like the Clippers or and do under the table deals. They really don't have that many options. So because they have fewer options, there's not much to maneuver. Thank God Russell Westbrook has a value that's low. No offense to Russ. Shout out to Russ. We love him. Make sure you go check out my Russell Westbrook video. I talk about that. But I don't see them having to pay that much, and they waiving some guys on their team wouldn't be a bad idea to make some room for Russ, who maybe would sign like a 1 year, $9 million. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it would be tough. Like before we start thinking about all these people, you know, that we could put in the space, I just was curious to see, like, can the Houston Rockets pivot with what they already have? Or will it take them making huge adjustments, maybe with trades or dropping folks on waivers, considering the cap space that doesn't necessarily, there's not too much room to work with here.